feel to it, you know, about breaking rules and playing around with it. A lot of what we do as hairdressers should be about creativity and working within your own boundaries and what you like and what you don't like, if that makes sense. You know, it's not a case of doing stuff because everyone else likes it. It's about having having feeling and working with your own taste and your own limitations, isn't it? Working with these tools, I'll tell you a little story. I've been hairdressing for about 13 years. I've been in Australia for about 6 years now. I was a creative director for Tony and Guy, and then I moved to TIGI in November. So I'm now the creative director for Australia and New Zealand. About 18 months ago, I got given this red box, and I kind of looked at it, and I opened it up, and kind of, I was looking at it like this, and I was thinking, what is it? Where's the clutch? Honestly, I told James and Lorraine this, I was looking at it, and I was thinking, as a hairdresser, you know, change. Oh, I don't like that. So kind of put it to the side, and then I got a phone call, and they said to me, you know, why don't you give it a go? And I'm not just saying this, I got the X3 out, and I started playing with it, and it was amazing. You know, I do a lot of session work, a lot of shows and runways and things like that. And rather than running around with like 3 different tongs, 4 different tongs, I had one with different kind of applications that I put on top of it that heated up really quickly. You know, it's got a tourmaline infused barrel as well, so it excretes like these natural oils that help kind of coat the hair and give it a nice kind of sheen, and it doesn't, you know, kind of affect the cuticle or raise the cuticle or damage the hair in any way. So it was kind of, for me, you know, I was always used to using different kinds of tongs and things like that, so when I saw this, I kind of looked at it and I was a little bit kind of taken back by it. Because it's something new and different, isn't it? And I couldn't figure out with all the attachments. But I'll be honest with you, after using it for probably like a couple of weeks in the salon and playing around with it on shows and shoots, it was amazing. You know, trying to curl hair, sometimes you overproduct it, don't you? Or the hair's kind of too porous and you can't get a smooth kind of curl to it or texture, can you? With this, because of the different sizes in the barrels as well, you just get all these different kind of textures and curls, and you just leave it on there, you don't even need product on it, you know, you can just hold it in there. So what I'm going to be doing first with my... Where is she? She's outside. She's hiding, she's done a runner. Is it okay? So we're going to be going through with this one. What we're going to be using... Oh, let me put you down with you.
Thanks.
So what we've done is we've part-waved a little bit at the back about half an hour ago, just because I wanted you guys to see how well that it does stay in. Because obviously when you're kind of waving hair and you're curling hair, obviously we all know it drops out quite quickly. It's not natural, don't we? Okay, I'm not going to lie to you and, you know, say this is going to last all day for the whole day, but it does last a lot longer. We put in some volume mousse just to give it a little bit of grittiness and texture to the hair. I'll spin her around, just move this out of the way. You can just see this was just done half an hour ago, and we've still got that kind of soft kind of movement in there. What I want to achieve with this is a soft kind of movement. I'm going to be using the double barrel. Sounds good, doesn't it? So the double barrel. So the way this works is we wrap it around in a figure of 8. You can really play around with this as well. So you know when I was saying about being creative and playing around with it and things like that? Just because I say wrap it around in a figure 8 doesn't mean you have to do it like that. You know, I've wrapped it around twice, left it straight, wrapped it around twice, left it straight, and I've ended up with like a zigzag, then a smooth part, then a zigzag, and it gives more different kind of textures to it as well. So that's what I was saying, it's just about playing around with the hair and just seeing what you can work with it. What I'm going to be doing with this is I'm going to be using hairspray just because I want to give it a little bit of hold. Not too much, but just enough to give it a slight kind of hold so it just, when I brush it out, I can play around with it. Do you guys use anything like this in your salons? I'm sure there's people out there. Talk, I'm not that scary. Yeah. Princess Jasmine, quite hot. Bonus point about this glove, because it's kind of heat resistant, when this heats up, you know, with the clutches, sometimes on you know, different tongs, the clutches, if you don't wrap it round enough, you can get like a dent or a line in it. And sometimes the ends, some of them flick out and they don't hold it properly. By using this glove, you can just hold, like if I hold, that's quite hot. If I hold it with this, I can hold it a little bit longer. I'm not going to lie, it's still warm on my hand, but you know, 15-20 seconds to kind of let the hair set around it, you know, I'm still holding it. That's quite hot. Okay, but you know, that helps you be able to smooth the ends out. Because sometimes what I find, when you're working with a clutch, if you don't wrap it round properly and the clutch is underneath, it's hard to kind of open up the clutch and get the ends underneath it, isn't it? You know, when you're using tongs, if you just wrap it round like that, I find that you don't get an even heat distribution. So by using the clutch on it, and wrapping it round and then dropping the clutch down holds it a little bit more even. You with me on that? But sometimes you can get a straight line in it, can't you? If the hair's too long or too short and you're trying to move it around. So yeah, just with this, you can just hold it and you can just wrap the edges around. Is there any questions, guys? With my beautiful models in there. Bit of a surprise for you today, wasn't it? So with this, okay, the best thing to think about is when you're working with curls and texture, natural curly hair isn't perfect, is it? You know when you walk down the street and you see people and it looks like the wind's blowing to the left because they've curled it all one way? And their hair naturally sits that way, so they're walking this way and it looks like they've been blown in the wind. You know what I mean? And they put hairspray in it because it has to have these perfect curls and things like that. What you have to understand, being a hairdresser, okay, we talk balance, cross-check, everything all the time, aren't we? It has to be perfect, it has to be this. When you're working with movement and curls and texture, it's about playing around with it, being a bit more free with it. Okay, so what we've been doing through here, you know, Lorraine and I were prepping this. We worked with small sections, we worked with big sections, we went some right, some left, some over the top, some underneath, just to kind of get that texture through there. So I'll show you with this one here. Just going to give it just, you know, just a light little blast of the hairspray. Just coming in through here. You guys see this? I'm just going in through the middle. And what I'm going to do, I'm just going to give it a figure of 8. Just wrap it around myself. But you can see that I can hold that indent right on the edge of that and I'm not really burning myself too much. You know it's hot. What's not smoke? But you know, once I pulled that out, I just got that shape and that zigzag to it. Obviously, another thing that I always say to people as hairdressers, what we do is then we start playing with it. Do it, drop it, leave it. Same with tongs as well, because that's what, you know, you're putting moisture back into it, the heat from your hands as well, you're going to put out what you've done. So once you've got that in there, just drop it. Another good thing that works as well, I'll just show you with this bit, is if you kind of twist it round. Now I've done quite a few shoots recently and I've been using the X3 and it's been amazing, kind of like, since I've been using it, I'd rock up at shoots and people would look at me and be like, what's that? And it would start a bit of a buzz and they'd be really interested in it. But now I'm like, you know, rocking up and everyone's using them. Like, I mean they've been being used on the backstage on The Voice. I know this because I'm one of the judges on there, but but yeah, they've been used backstage on The Voice, been used in the UK, the States, all over Fashion Week, Milan, hasn't it as well, New York, Paris. So when you twist it round, it just gives you a different kind of feel to it as well, it's a little bit softer. So when I pull that out as well, I've just got more of a soft kind of curl to it because I twisted the hair around it. So that's what I was saying, when I was like, have a play with it, it's so easy to use. I mean, at first, as I said, when you're working with tongs, you can get different textures, but it's mainly a small, medium and a large, plus it takes a little bit longer to heat up as well, doesn't it? The good thing about this as well is, if you're working with one or two of them, you can play around with and alternate them as well. With that, when I first used my X3, we didn't have the conical one, and you all know what I mean by conical as well, yeah? We've now got two variations of conicals, so there's a bit more of a fatter kind of chunky one, and then there's a really, really thin one as well. So I've been playing around with different textures and alternating them and things like that as well. You know, they're really, really good for that kind of, that beachy kind of feel as well.